Hey there, thanks for tuning into Duckbricks. I'm Chris, and this is the big one. This is LEGO Ninjago Dragons Rising Ninjago City Markets. Now, I was absolutely exhilarated when I first heard that we were going to get a new experience for the Ninjago City sets. I did not know if they would ever make more, and I am so excited that they are continuing to do this series. Now, I have proudly displayed all of the other Ninjago City sets all lit up in my city, which you can see right there. Can't wait to add this one to it. But so for this video, we'll be taking a look at not just a review of the set, but also a look at all of the hidden Easter eggs and references inside the set, because there are quite a lot, and there's a lot that you can do in this particular build. And without further ado, I think it's time we just jump right into the set, and definitely stay tuned to this channel for not just reviews of this, but reviews of the entire LEGO Ninjago Dragons Rising set wave coming your way very soon as well. And so, let's take a look at the amazing Ninjago City Markets. Alright, so this is Ninjago City Markets. It is the largest Ninjago set to date, coming with 6,163 pieces, making this absolutely gargantuan. It retails for $370 US, 370 euros, and 320 British pounds, and will be releasing on June 1st, 2023, with a pretty amazing price per part ratio of 6 cents. Now this comes with an incredible selection of minifigures, 21 different characters, most of which are actually fully unique and many of which represent certain characters that have been featured in previous seasons of the TV show. Now Ninjago City Markets has a lot to cover, so the way we're going to do this is I will briefly talk about the minifigures, which I talked at length about in my previous minifigure mega review, which came out yesterday at the time this video is being published, and then we'll literally just go floor by floor, starting off with the top, working our way down to the bottom, talking about every single one of the details, and of course, every single Easter egg and reference scattered throughout this entire set. So without further ado, let's start off with the figures. Okay, so let's start off with the easy ones. This is Lloyd in his brand new LEGO Ninjago Dragons Rising outfit. We've talked about this figure and the new head and armor combo piece at length in the previous minifigure mega review. This is actually the 6th Lloyd minifigure that we're getting across this wave, so he is appearing in quite an abundance, but it makes sense because he is one of the focus characters. Just to briefly look at the facial expression there, that's what that looks like on the back, as well as a facial expression on the front with nice energy detailing on the sides of the head itself. I talked about these figures quite a lot in the minifigure mega review, but in short, I do like the overall design of the characters. It also comes with Nia in the Dragons Rising outfit, but I really do wish we were able to actually move the heads, because I love to be able to pose my minifigures, especially the ninja, and be able to showcase them in different environments, and you just can't really do that with these figures because the heads are basically fixed. Even if you want them looking to the side, the front mouthpiece for the mask is always going to be covering the front, and you cannot rotate it. It is a bit of a con to me because if I want to pose them with the hairstyles, you need to actually remove the armor and the headpiece just to be able to make them look around, but I do still like the design of the suits, and the gunmetal looks really good against this azure. Next up, we have Kai in his blacksmith outfit. Now this minifigure is actually just kind of a quote-unquote kit bash of a lot of existing LEGO minifigure components. Obviously you have his hair from the island, the standard Kai face, as well as the blacksmith torso and legs from the LEGO Ideas Medieval Blacksmith, but of course this is a reference to the very first appearance of Kai in the Ninjago TV show The Pilots, where he was wearing a blacksmith uniform. He had a white undershirt, so it doesn't quite look right or the same as what he appeared like in the show, but it is close enough for a blacksmith version of Kai, especially because that's a variant of the character we are quite unlikely to get again. Next up, we have a version of Zane here. This is a reference to his appearance in Season 12 Prime Empire during a fun detective noir episode. This was Ninjago City. Basically, he went undercover as a detective to try to find the whereabouts of Milton Dyer. So this is a really unique outfit that is really just specific to one episode. I never would have imagined we would ever actually get this as an actual minifigure, but he does come with a brand new headpiece with the smiling expression. Always a really fun one to get that, as well as the detective outfit, which is really fun. Now technically all 6 original ninja are included in this set, although 2 of them look like this. These are microfigures for Jay and Cole, where you can see that they are wearing their core suits. You have one in black and one in dark blue, and I kind of like how they specifically had representation of all of the main 6 ninja, even if 2 of them aren't really counting as minifigures. These are really cool, and I hope that we continue to get more microfigures of the rest of the ninja as action figure-like things. I think it's just super cool they were able to do these printing on the little trophy figures. Next up, we have a representative from the new era, or the new generation of the ninja team. This is Urban Aaron. So basically, he is in his casual outfit. The torso is basically the same as his other appearances throughout the other sets, but the legs are a special and exclusive so far print to Ninjago City Markets, although rumors suggest we will actually be seeing this exact minifigure being able to be built from Build a Minifigure Station starting on June 1st. So hopefully that is true, so more people can get this outside of people who just buy this very expensive set. Aaron utilizes a hairpiece that was first used in LEGO City minifigures last year. It is a fairly new piece, but it fits the character really well, and it's great to see another minifigure character in casual outfits, especially from the new ninja team. In contrast, the casual version of his friend Sora here is essentially just the regular Sora minifigure without the armor or hood piece. The only exclusive part of this character so far is the recolored hairpiece. This originated from LEGO Monkey Kid. It came from the May minifigure, but here it is colored in coral for the first time, although unfortunately it's not super accurate to what we've seen in the show because it doesn't have the specialized headphones with cat ears, which is something that seems to be a trademark for the Sora character. Otherwise, it is so cool to get arm printing on a standard Ninjago minifigure, and this is one of my favorite designs for any of the new characters so far. Moving onwards, we have probably the most exciting minifigure in the set to a lot of minifigure completionists like me. This is Camille, the Elemental Master of Form. She first appeared in Season 4 Tournament of Elements and was one of the Elemental Masters the ninja had to face off against in Master Chen's tournament, and she has not appeared since that season. However, she was the last Elemental Master that we were still waiting to get. A Tournament of Elements Battle Pack set came out in 2021 for Ninjago Legacy, but unfortunately she was not included there because of budget issues. They finally managed to include her in this set, which is really fantastic, and it is so cool to get the complete lineup of Elemental Masters at long last. Next up, we have another fairly new TV show character. This is Hound Dog McBride from Ninjago Crystallized. He was the detective, the grizzled hunter who chased down the ninja after they were on the run from the law. He has 2 different expressions. He has a more serious one and an angry one, which fit the character so well. And I love the torso printing here. He really has that big police badge. It is just pretty perfect to his appearance in the TV show itself. Next up, we have Misdemeanor, another fairly new character. She first appeared in the first episode of Ninjago Seabound, Season 14, where she was kind of a teaser towards Crystallized, appeared a few more times before being apprehended by the new ninja. This is a great minifigure that features a ton of new prints and fully gunmetal gray torso and legs, which is very impressive. I love the way this looks, and I also love how they used existing pieces like the classic space air tanks, the whip elements here, as well as just simple fire pieces on the ends to really recreate her very unique flamethrower weapons. If you're curious what the torso looks like without the air tanks on, this is what the back of the torso looks like with a nice fiery and flaming design. Overall, not a minifigure I was ever expecting to get, but this is a really cool one to finally get in physical form. Next up, we have an outfit for Dareth, which is the outfit that he first wore in Season 8 Sons of Garmadon when he was the manager of the Laffy's Club, or the Laffy's Bar, which you can actually see as part of the set featured. This is an outfit that has been a long time overdue. I was kind of shocked when we did not get this outfit in Ninjago City Docks all the way back in 2018, but finally, years later, we have gotten Dareth in his white suit, which is basically the outfit he's been wearing in the TV show since he appeared in it in Season 8, so that's really cool to finally get this. Now, the headpiece is not actually one that specifically was made for Dareth. This actually originated from the downtown kind of vintage retro diner modular building all the way back around 2016 or 2017, and they specifically made this print for someone who was kind of an Elvis Presley impersonator singing in the diner itself, but myself and a lot of fans immediately saw this expression and said, you know what, that is literally perfect for Dareth, and I'm glad LEGO realized it too. Next up, we have another character that we've been wanting to get in minifigure form for quite a while. This is Cyrus Borg, who made his first appearance in Season 3 of the show, Ninjago Rebooted. We have gotten a version of Cyrus Borg before for the 2014 LEGO Ninjago lineup, but that one was the evil Overborg version. He was kind of converted with half technology on the side of his face, and he had spider legs. This is the general version of Cyrus Borg, and basically he has appeared like this in the show for many, many seasons since his original debut, and this is a pretty perfect minifigure to get. Personally, I'm kind of surprised they did not reuse a head that they made for LEGO City earlier this year, which looked just like Cyrus Borg, but they even went the extra mile and gave him an even more accurate expression with the metallic silver glasses. Overall, I'm just so happy we were able to finally get a Cyrus Borg minifigure. We also are getting the newer wheelchair introduced in LEGO Avatar sets for the first time in dark gray, which is really nice, and it's great to see this finally as a physical minifigure. Although I guess it does technically reduce our chances of ever getting a Borg Tower set, because I doubt they'll include him in any other set other than this. Next up, we have two characters that have kind of been mainstays. One of them is Gail Gossip, who first appeared back in 2012 and 2013. She has basically been the main reporter throughout most of the show's run, and it is really cool to finally get her in minifigure format. You have a happy expression talking and a scared one because she always finds herself in danger. Now, the one unfortunate thing is that Gail Gossip's hairpiece is not this one. Her hairpiece is actually discontinued. It has long since been discontinued, and it never was made in this particular color, meaning we probably never will get a fully screen-accurate Gail Gossip minifigure. That being said, it appeared in a slightly lighter shade for an older collectible minifigure, the ballerina dancer type skater minifigure, so if you do want to just swap those hair pieces out, there is basically an alternative that does get the exact shaping of the hair in the show. Going alongside Gail Gossip is Vinny from NGTV News. Vinny was first named in Season 10, March of the Oni, where he shared a moment with Garmadon, later on appearing in Crystallized, and he can kind of be seen in the background throughout a lot of the Wild Brain shows filming Gail Gossip. Now, when you first look at this minifigure, he might not seem that special, until you turn him around and you can actually see the NGTV logo, which is a really cool thing to see emblazoned on the back of this figure. Overall, he does feel fairly plain, but that is exactly what he looks like in the show. Honestly, I do like the brick-built camera. It's not the most exciting minifigure, but it is still cool to get another named character with an exclusive torso print. Speaking of exclusive torso prints, I am very torn on this figure right here. So if you've been following this channel, you know that I am a major Bionicle fan. One of my most popular videos was a 9-hour retelling of the entire Bionicle story. So, let me tell you that when I saw that there was going to be a minifigure in City Markets featuring the Bionicle Kanohi Hao, that was the mask of shielding used by Toa in the 2001 Bionicle Generation 1 first lineup, and on the back is the 3 virtue symbol for Unity, Duty, Destiny, or the Spherus Magna Constellation Galaxy, that was a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one. But here's the thing. This character is supposed to represent Racer 7, aka Blazy H Speed, and for whatever reason, they did not actually give her the regular outfit she wears in the show. In fact, this looks nothing like the outfit she wears, which is predominantly a brighter green color. In fact, they didn't even choose to use one of the green masked Bionicles like Liwa or Kongu or someone like that. They chose Tahu, which I think makes sense because he's kind of an icon of Bionicle, but it's weird that they actually made this figure Blazy H Speed and not Bionicle fan or something like that. I think if I could imagine what happened is that they wanted to include this Bionicle torso in some set, they had the budget to do it, and they were getting ready to make it, and then they realized they could just call it another named character from Ninjago, aka Racer 7, by putting on a generic city headpiece and the hair, and they just called it Racer 7 and called it good. Honestly, I really hope that at some point they will revisit the Racer 7 minifigure and actually give us an accurate one to the show itself, and if they had the budget to make another new torso, they could have just given us her new torso and given this torso to somebody else in the set, but they chose not to. I love the torso. It's really great. I'm sure it's going to appear on a ton of people's sig figs, and I think it's so cool how she literally has a canister and a figure of Toa Tahu. Unfortunately not printed. That would have been sick, but not printed, but it's still fine. But it's weird that this is supposed to be Racer 7 because it literally looks nothing like her other than obviously the head and the hair. Moving onwards, we have a number of other exclusive minifigures, including a Borg store employee. This also features a phone, almost doing like an Apple Pay or a remote credit card pay, so that's a cool print for the phone. And this is actually a really Ninjago-specific print with the Cyrus Borg logo on it. I really like that we were able to get this as an official figure, Would I have traded this torso for, I don't know, an accurate Racer 7 torso and then given one of these characters or another character the Bionicle shirt? Probably, but it is still really nice to get the Borg store employee. Next up, we have a reference to Ninjago Prime Empire Season 12. This is the sushi chef. However, he works at Sushimi's, and Sushimi was one of the villains in Prime Empire. He kind of was a sushi chef who was one of the bosses of the game. You can see him on the torso there, so that counts as a reference, as well as on the back of the logo here. So apparently he has since migrated from Prime Empire, given up his aggressive ways, and opened up a sushi chain. So that's cool, good for him. It is a very unique figure to get, and I guess it makes sense for the markets to get someone who is specific to a Ninjago market. Although again, a whole new torso print created for someone who maybe could have been an existing character, but they chose not to do that. Yet another new torso print originates with this character right here. He basically is just one of the patrons of the tea shop. You can see he has a really nice dragon logo on the front and back, reading tea on the back, which is a very nice print to get. It is a really clearly Ninjago-inspired print, but then again, I do question that they probably could have used the budget for a new torso print to give us even more named characters. But I do understand for a market set like this, you do have to have generic civilians, and not everybody needs to be a named character. Lastly, our final minifigure with a unique print made specifically for the set is just a civilian here going along the boat. I think the torso looks nice, it's nothing too fancy, it kind of reminds me of the stuff we got for the civilians in the LEGO Ninjago movie. It's just a nice sand green minifigure, but out of all the minifigs in this set that have new components, this is probably the one I would have traded to get an accurate Racer 7 or even another named character with just a new torso, because it's just kind of a generic thing, and I don't think they needed to make a new torso for him. Now, there are still 3 minifigures that are included in the set, but all of these 3 minifigures are basically made up of existing pieces. This is kind of a kid who's dressed up in the Ninjago Core dojo outfit, so they had the training dojo outfits that were introduced in the Creative Brick Box earlier this year. This is just a kid featuring that particular design. We have a chef here who doesn't really have anything to do with Ninjago. In fact, you could just have called this a city minifigure and I would have believed it. It is, again, using existing pieces, but it is a chef to be able to populate the markets themselves. Lastly, we have kind of this old grandma-style minifigure, again, using pretty standard prints for everything, nothing super crazy going on. Although I do love the expression on the lady's face here. That is a really fun expression to get. It is a really cute one for a sweet old granny holding maybe a jar of something. Not really sure what that's supposed to be, a juice or something. But overall, just a nice minifigure to get. Fairly simple. Nothing really stand out about this one, but another civilian. And with the minifigures out of the way, I was able to sum up all the references in the minifigures, but there are still so many references in the set itself. So let's get into our review of the main Ninjago City Market set. Before I start to deconstruct this and actually talk about each and every one of the individual levels, one thing I do want to point out and notice is just how cool it is to move minifigures around the city. And this is specifically built to be fully wheelchair accessible, which is really nice. So let's take Cyrus Borg and we can showcase exactly how he would travel around the city. First of all, you can roll him here, and there is a ramp going upwards here to get him onto the little kind of cable car. So let's just have him roll on up here. You can twist a knob here to make the cable car actually dock at a certain station. So it is a fairly slow process because the knob is not very large, but it is very satisfying to actually be able to get the cable car to dock in a specific area. Now, once it's down there, you can actually have it open up, so you can kind of barely see the cable car inside there. You can have this ramp open up, and it serves as a ramp for minifigures to get in. So you can put Cyrus Borg in there. Again, we want to showcase how this is fully wheelchair accessible, so I want to showcase him being able to go up. It is a little bit tight, but once you get him in, that is totally good. You can now close it all up, and then once this is closed up here, we can just roll it on up. Now, the thing is, it is a little finicky. I've accidentally knocked off one of the pieces that is actually holding this on, so we are going to get this back on as best we can here. Move that up. There we go. So that shouldn't have come up. But then, once he's inside there, so he's finally inside. It is very tight, but you can get him inside. You can have the cable car transport itself all the way up. You twist a knob here to actually open up the bridges or the gateway there to allow the cable car to enter this one area. So let's just get this cranked up and going into here. And now once it is all the way up here, you can close the walkway up again. You can open up the bridge to allow your minifigures to exit. Now, you can go down here. There are stairs on one side, so basically there are stairs on this side. However, there's also a wheelchair accessible elevator here. You can turn this knob to allow your wheelchair minifigure to go there. Then you slowly turn it down, and that is a little bit of a lift, which is really nice. So once you're across the lift, you can have your minifigures be navigating all the way around, and you can actually reach all the different aspects of the wheelchair. And what is also nice is that even as you go around the back here, have a wheelchair to go up to different levels of the Borg store itself. So here is what the back looks like. Honestly, probably one of the most uninteresting back parts of any Ninjago City. It's clear they wanted the front to be the main focus part, but let me remove this window here so we can get a better look inside. You open up the door, he goes on in, you can have him open up this door, and here is a wheelchair accessible platform as well. This one is just driven by hand, so you can cause this to go on up there. It stays locked in that position, and then you can go on over to his own office. So that is a really cool thing that they're actually able to do with the entire city itself, just making it very accessible for minifigures, even minifigures in wheelchairs, to access any different part of it, which is something I really do appreciate. And it also just adds a lot to the fun of playing with the set by just tracking the journey of a minifigure through the entire course itself. But now I think it's time to go one by one. We are going to take a look at every single type of build in this entire set, all the references, the Easter eggs, and go top to bottom. So the first thing here, I think we were already talking about it, we might as well continue talking about the Borg store. So, strangely enough, they had a spot to place a tower in this set. Obviously, as you can see, they had a spot to place a Borg tower, but I figured that maybe they felt that the dark gray color scheme of the Borg tower was just not interesting enough for a modular type set like this, so they decided to do a lime green building as well, which works out fine. It is a Borg store, it's not supposed to be Borg tower, but I also think it would have been really cool to just get Borg Tower in the corner there. We're still waiting. Maybe one of these days they'll incorporate the top of it into a city set, because I know they've been thinking about doing it for quite a while. So, inside the Borg store itself, this is something that has actually appeared in a couple of different Ninjago seasons, specifically Season 7, Hands of Time, featured Borg stores for the first time, kind of treating them like Apple stores. None of them looked exactly like this. This is kind of something that has been created for the set itself, but I still think it is a nice thing to get. Inside, there is a bit of a console and desk area for Cyrus Borg to work in, so zooming in here, you can see that there is a nice little sticker there that just is referencing some different products. I don't think that particular sticker is referencing anything Ninjago related in particular. It's kind of just a tech looking sticker, but it is a nice thing to add on to the store itself. Inside the store itself, we have a variety of new printed elements. These are not exclusive to the set. They've appeared in a couple of other sets before, namely some city sets, but we have some power cells up there, some just transparent clear pieces, and a couple of phones as well, which is a nice thing to have inside a store. What's also cool about Ninjago City is that every single piece can be removed, so you have different layers that can be separated out. Like, for example, you can take off this entire chunk, and this whole thing is its own little module, so let's take that off now that we've seen it. Borg's office right here. And then you also have this whole area right here, but this is more attached to everything else, just like so. So this is the first part of the Borg store. Doesn't look that good from this side, but thankfully most of this is covered and you really only see this thing. One thing I want to note in terms of the building techniques of this store itself is I really like how they are able to reuse very specialized elements to make this feel very modern and futuristic. These are specialized car hood pieces, or car kind of rounded pieces that go over the car wheels, the hubcaps, and they were made for creator expert 18+ style icons cars, but now they're being used as windows, which is really cool. I also love this technique, which is kind of reminiscent of the Eiffel Tower, to have the crossbeam pieces being used as almost like an industrial elevator type thing. That was where the elevator was actually being able to go up on this side right here. So I think overall it is really cool to be able to get this amount of detail in the Borg store. Moving on from that, we can work our way across the walkway here. There is a nice sticker that shows a map of the Ninjago City. Nothing, again, specifically being referenced here, but it is still cool to get a little bit of a sticker there. There is almost like a shrine-type build here, which is a nice thing for minifigures to be able to walk through. And then we get into some more references. So moving on over to this side first, we have a couple of specific references to both older LEGO themes, but also specific things from Ninjago. This is a poster of Fritz Donegan, Starfarer. Fritz Donegan was portrayed by actor Cliff Gordon in the Ninjago universe, and he basically is their version of Luke Skywalker. He's kind of like a Star Wars-esque hero, and what's cool is that this is actually something that's appeared in the show multiple times. He was first mentioned in Season 2 Legacy of the Green Ninja. He later on was revealed, the actor playing him was revealed to be Jay's biological father, Cliff Gordon, in Season 6 Skybound. Jay, Nia, and Cole go on a double or triple date together to one of his movies in Season 3 Rebooted. He appears quite a lot of times, and it's cool to finally get a reference to him outside of just a little printed comic book, which is what we've gotten before. The spaceship behind him is also meant to evoke the classic space logo, or the original LEGO spaceship type shape there, which is obviously, you can see it's kind of arcing around the dome around his head, which is something very cool to see. Now this right here is the logo for LEGO Atlantis. LEGO Atlantis was a theme that ran from 2010 to 2011. It was an original LEGO theme based on underwater explorers, and they have the logo of their crew right there, which is something very cool to see. I have not seen a lot of Atlantis references in LEGO sets, especially in modern LEGO sets nowadays, and that's really cool to actually get a reference to that entire team. It is the Trident logo as seen on some of their largest type of the Neptune carrier, or you can see it on their even the Wreck Raider and the Seabed Scavenger, the Typhoon Turbo Sub, all these classic LEGO sets emblazoned with the Atlantis Trident logo, which is so cool to see there, and I like how they're using these fins here to almost feel a little bit aquatic in the way it's set up. Down here we have what appears to be a reference to something that is going to appear in the brand new Ninjago TV show, Dragons Rising. Now, at the time of this recording, the show has not been released yet, so I do not know the exact context behind this, but it looks to be some sort of a mech racing competition. You can see a reference to Sora's transforming mech bike racer there, so you can see that's what it looks like. And we have the actual mech itself here from the set, so that is actually specifically referencing another Ninjago set that just came out along the same time, as well as a mech for the Bone Villain faction from Ninjago Core, which we have seen in the trailers. It is very cool to be able to get mechs for that faction, and that does look a lot like what it looks like in the trailers themselves, so that is a pretty cool reference to get. Moving onwards, as we rotate our way around here, not even removing or opening any of the buildings yet, there is still more to see in terms of references. Here is where we get a ton, because every single one of these signs is pretty much a specific reference to something. Starting off with this movie poster, we have a title that says Rebuild. It says it's coming soon at the bottom, and there you see emblazoned on the front is Jay's Titan mech from this year's Ninjago Core lineup. The coloration is a little bit different than what you see in the set. It's more simplified, but it clearly is supposed to be Jay's Titan mech. And there you have Borg Tower in the background. So I guess technically Borg Tower has appeared in a LEGO set. Directly above that is a very small reference to LEGO Drome Racers. This was a racing line in the early 2000s that was a very interesting mixed creative line featuring minifigures, Technic builds, pullback cars, all sorts of very unique types of designs. Drome racing is a very obscure LEGO theme with a ton of very interesting sets. I actually have done a few reviews of it on my channel, but that is the logo right up there, and it very easily could be maybe something that could appear in the Ninjago world as some sort of a racing circuit. Moving on down from that, we can actually take a look at some of these other references specifically on the sides of these signs here. So this right here is meant to be Steeper Wisdom. So Steeper Wisdom, it's the blue sign right here, was something that first appeared in Season 5 of Ninjago Possession. That was Master Wu's tea shop. You can see that he has some little advertising with his face coming out of the tea. It's Steeper Wisdom there, and actually one of the minifigures in the set directly corresponds to a Steeper Wisdom employee there, which is a cool thing to get, so maybe Wu has expanded his business. And this sign here simply reads Pet Soap. I'm not quite sure what exactly that is supposed to be a reference to in terms of LEGO stuff. The logo kind of looks like an older version of the Duplo logo that they use. Duplo is one of LEGO's preschooler and baby toys, but obviously that was a red rabbit and not a red dog, so maybe that is a hint towards something to come. But folks in the comments, do let me know if I'm forgetting something here. I may be just forgetting something that's actually supposed to be a reference to. Moving on, the next sign here, the first one says Ice Planet, which is a reference to the Ice Planet ice cream shop, which appeared in Ninjago City Gardens, which in itself was a reference to the classic LEGO Space Ice Planet subtheme, which is a much beloved subtheme of LEGO Space that released in the 1980s. Right next to it is an advertisement for the RCX 2.0, which was essentially one of LEGO's original programming block things that predated Mindstorm's. RCX was a kind of collaboration between LEGO and MIT back in the day to introduce programming into LEGO. You very rarely see any RCX references nowadays, so that is something I think is really cool. Moving onwards to the next references here, this is the part that opens up when the cable car goes down, and we can actually take a closer look at some of the references here first. That is an advertisement for a Bone Demon band. This is the Bone Demon clan from the Ninjago core sets, which we initially thought were not canon until they appeared in the TV series, particularly for the trailer of Dragons Rising. So we have another reference to them there. We also had their bone mech down below. These signs here respectively tie into the Ninjago TV show. This is an advertisement reading See Shintaro. Shintaro was the Golden Kingdom up in the clouds in Season 13, Master of the Mountain, and has reappeared in Season 14 and since then. And then here is a reference to Lloyd's window washing cleaning job from Ninjago Crystallize. The sign is advertising that you can clean your windows, and that's the same logo that he wore as a window washer. Now these two things open up like so by twisting a gear in the back. They just open up, and then you can send the cable car going on down. So if I can get my hand around here, that's how the cable car just goes out through the streets. You can kind of deploy it from that particular location, and once the cable car is through, then you can close them up like so. Of course, on the front of the cable car, we could also see an advertisement for the J action figure, which we could actually see in the set itself. That's kind of selling the ninja action figures themselves, and we can move on from there. Going on to the second railing here, let's go ahead and rotate the entire city so we can take a closer look at the advertisements here. This right here is an advertisement for the Ninjago Museum of History. This is a building that we initially saw, obviously, in the TV show throughout the first few seasons. Season 2, Legacy of the Green Ninja, was the first one that it came in, but of course, we also got it in Ninjago City Gardens as a physical set, where you can see that is actually a graphic design of the museum itself from Ninjago City Gardens. Along here is a sign advertising Darren's Laffy's Karaoke Club, which obviously is this building right here, and alongside it, you can see a reference to Jacob Hefsner, the Elemental Master of Sound, who first appeared in Season 4 Tournament of Elements, which you can see right there on the character poster itself, which makes sense because it is a karaoke club, so the Elemental Master of Sound, who is a musician, could be possibly frequenting that location. The next sticker up here is not really a reference to anything, but it is specifically just showing the menu for the sushi area right there. Obviously, you have the different types of sushi being advertised on the menu itself. And as we rotate along here, we have a couple more references to specific LEGO and Ninjago related things. This right here is advertising the zoo, so the flame yellowish-orange sticker is advertising the zoo. There's a bit of a lizard on there, kind of tying back to the Ninjago Island type of setup. We have an ad for NGTV, the Ninjago News Network. Now the final sign here is something that personally I don't necessarily really recognize. It kind of looks like it ties back to LEGO Clickets or LEGO Friends. Folks in the comments, do let me know if I've missed something here. I might just be forgetting something tying back to an older LEGO theme, but I can't quite place what that logo is supposed to be, but maybe I'm just missing something. I don't think it pertains to any particular thing. Maybe it's just a star logo in general, but I could be missing something. Of course, before we move on here, it is time to take a look at the actual individual buildings themselves, starting off with this area right here. So up here is the top of the roofmost section, and we have two very fun functions of the set itself. The first thing is Sushimi's Sushi Restaurant. I love how this squid is built utilizing the new large action figure faceplate element, as well as the new helmet piece from the Imperium Dragon Hunters. That is actually the helmet piece being used by a lot of the minions in these sets, specifically these two minions right here. They are using kind of this bucket-like helmet piece, which looks a lot like a frying pan, and for good reason, because it literally is a frying pan in this particular set. Now what's great is that, again, much like all the other modular buildings, things can be removed. So the way that you remove this is you first remove the sign here. That's just the sign for Ninjago City Markets, so you can just carefully remove it. Unfortunately, broke off a section of it there, but it's basically supposed to just clip in and out. And now we can take a look at the individual buildings themselves. This is probably the less interesting out of the two. It is basically just the sushi shop, so you've got the little menu here, which you can see obviously the squid on the top. This roof piece does also remove, so you can see it is very tight cramped but also nice interior. Like you can see, it has a lot of details on the inside, and I really like the reverse style of the turntable being used as a stove. That is a really smart building technique, and of course sushi on the side of the counter as well. Other than that, nothing much else to see in terms of references here. It's just a small little shack, so we can move onwards. The really fun feature in the set comes in the form of this. So this right here is what I believe to be the very first working Lego toilet. Let me explain what I mean. We'll remove the top roof here, and this is basically like a porta potty or an outhouse, and I'm honestly kind of surprised they even included this in the set itself. So it opens up here, and there you can see the toilet on the inside. Now the toilet itself makes great usage of the specialized Lego door hanger piece. Let me actually just go ahead and grab this right here. This all comes off in one section because obviously the toilet is supposed to be its own thing connected up to everything else. So this is using a hanger piece that was introduced in Lego Dots. This is something that you can use to wall mount things, like a wall hanger on the wall, but they're using it for a toilet, which is actually so smart. Like, that is great piece usage. You have the newer style of Technic quote-unquote comma piece being used for toilet paper, which looks great. Like, that is so perfect. And of course you have the sink on this side, and you have a handle to flush. Now this handle actually activates a hidden mechanism, which is kind of tucked away behind the Fritz Donegan poster. That's what it looks like right there. It is a very clever mechanism that keeps the contents of the toilet, in this case 2 1x1 brown studs, inside the toilet until you literally press the handle to flush. Let's demonstrate how that works. So I'm just going to put this right over here, and we are going to turn the entire thing around. Now, as you can see, you just have generally a poster back here. The toilet is this building right here, but I'm going to lift the poster up, and there you go. That's how that flushes. So let me do that one more time so we can really demonstrate how this crazy feature works. You literally have to sneak in there and put the 1x1 brown pieces inside the toilet. Right now you can see it's not flushed, and then I'm pressing the handle on the inside here, which just presses down and ejects the sewage into the water, which has some unfortunate implications for the rest of this modular system, because obviously Ninjago City Docks has somebody fishing in this very water. So quite unfortunate for whoever is actually eating fish there. I guess this is now sewage water as well. I just think that is a really funny function. I am so shocked they actually included a working flushing toilet in a Lego set. I cannot say I've ever seen that one before, but it works. There's literally a pathway where it routes them from the toilet. It goes into here. That's why there's like a poster covering up this section, because when you remove this part of the poster, that's actually its own thing. I mean, we can remove it later on, but this is actually a separate removable piece, which you can kind of see the back of this has a slope to it. Like, this specifically is sloped, so the pieces slide down here, go into this chute, and there's a chute down there that has it go all the way down and then down this part. It is a function that works surprisingly well, and I'm honestly really impressed by how well they actually got this to work. But yeah, a lot of effort and time and engineering effort put into making a working toilet, which is a very fun feature in a Lego set. But now we can separate this entire level off. Let me just go ahead and remove the toilet section, and we can take a look at the next layer. So this layer here is, as I said previously, this is Darrett's Laffy's Karaoke Club. That is this entire purple building here. We took a look at the outside, but let's take a look at the inside right now and see what interior details there are. One of my favorite builds here is the pool table. This is a fully brick-built pool table that actually has workable holes, so like the studs can actually kind of rest in these holes. It is such a smart design in terms of how they were able to put this together. It literally does work. It is so clever. That's probably one of my favorite small builds in the set. There we have a dartboard, which is featured in the TV show itself, and then right here is a reference to Prime Empire. This is Dareth alongside one of the bartenders who worked at Laffy's Bar at Prime Empire, who was actually an old childhood friend of Milton Dyer's. So it's really cool to see that being referenced. Obviously it's in black and white because that was from the Detective Zane episode, who obviously also features in the set, so that was kind of something they were going with. Here we just have the karaoke stage for people to go singing. You've got some drinks down there which you can get for the different customers, and one of Darrett's trophies, of course, because Dareth always has to display his trophies wherever he goes. Overall, this is a really nice and cute little area. There's a jukebox on the side there. This jukebox was actually seen in Season 8 Sons of Garmadon. Cole played the song to try to entertain the Sons of Garmadon biker gang at Laffy's itself, and it is really cool to actually finally get this pretty revisited and iconic location in LEGO form, especially this sign right here is what the sign actually looks like in the TV show itself. With that, we can now move on to the lower levels. Now, surprisingly enough, this whole section does not remove. It is because obviously you have the cable car situated here, so this is an entire block that just stays here, but don't worry, you can still access these other buildings via different means. Let's take a look at the references that we can find throughout the main square first. So, getting the cable car out of the way here, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and dock the cable car up on the top so we kind of can get a clear viewing area for the rest of the buildings right here. So let's just get that in the docking position. Right here is just a little bit of a food market. It does not, again, reference anything in particular other than just a little cute little dragon sticker on it. Again, not necessarily referencing a particular thing. This is a sign that reads Blacksmith, which is Kai's blacksmith shop, which he apparently has moved over here. And over here you can also see a look at a hammer, which kind of looks like one of the Imperium hammers that the new villain Lord Raz uses, but it's unclear exactly if that's what it's supposed to be. Right here is a poster featuring the face of Hound Dog McBrog from Ninjago Crystallized, which is, of course, one of the characters included in the set itself. And then over here, we have a sign that reads Pie. Now, the pie is something that we have seen in trailers for Ninjago Dragons Rising. I'm assuming it has some sort of a story role, that's why they included a bakery here, but there is the sign that says pie there. That was also one of the first images ever leaked from the LEGO Ninjago, series of Dragons Rising, was a pie, and I guess it's also featured in the set, so I assume that is supposed to reference something. Moving onwards, there is another great sticker here. This is just kind of a more oriental styled, Asian inspired design here, which looks like Master Wu atop his dragon. Doesn't really look like any particular Ninjago dragon, but it is still nice to see. And one thing that I do want to point out about the building techniques here is that they've used a lot of really clever pieces. These are roller coaster tracks. They're actually the short version of the roller coaster track introduced for the loop coaster. Just alongside here, we also have books being used. These are actually books that are used reverse to use the roof pieces here. It is a great parts usage, and in a very unique surprise, they have included, and I hope this comes on Pick-a-Brick, but they've included the Roman Centurion shield in black, which is not a piece I even thought was still in production or in circulation. It is a very rare piece that we pretty much never see in LEGO sets, so it was very strange to actually see those being used for the roof of this one area, and that was basically it. Now moving onwards to the rest of this courtyard area, there's not a ton of references, a nice bridge that has some really great brick-built design. Obviously these are specialized Technic arches as well. We can move over here and we have an advertisement for Steeper Wisdom, which is Wu's tea shop. This looks like maybe a Steeper Wisdom stand here, because obviously this is just kind of its own little thing. These are printed 1x1 Technic bricks with an oriental design on them, which looks very nice, as well as what you can see, an advertisement for the Temple of Celebrations. The Temple of Celebrations was an employee-exclusive set that was given out as a holiday gift for employees of the LEGO group around Christmas time. It is pretty much the only exclusive holiday gift Ninjago set, and this exact artwork was actually seen on the box itself. Right here is a sticker advertising the new city of Imperium. It is also in the style of the Ninjago Golden Legacy style of kind of decals, so it is a nice reference to see there. And then this is a pretty cheeky little reference, a wanted poster for a lost goat. Now, for those who are in the know in terms of LEGO fans, the goat was a specialized animal mold that appeared only once in a LEGO Kingdom set back in 2011, the Mill Village Raid, and never appeared in any other set. The goat is actually one of the most sought after LEGO pieces, retailing for around $70 to $80 on Bricklink, which is the online LEGO marketplace. Crazy amount to pay for one single LEGO piece. But good news for LEGO fans, because the GOAT is allegedly making a return in a leaked LEGO set coming out next year. I can't talk too much about that because it is a leak, but I have it on good authority. The GOAT will be making a triumphant return, so this is kind of both an Easter egg, kind of poking fun at how much LEGO fans want the GOAT to come back and everyone's looking for it, and also maybe a little teaser for something to come in the future. Rotating the buildings around here, we have one of my favorite references in the set. This is a poster for LEGO Monster Fighters. That is the original Monster Fighters logo, but done in the Ninjago text. It features Dr. Rodney Rathbone and his partner Anne, as well as the Monster Fighters Haunted House, Lord Vampire up the top there. You can see some of the villains of the series. I'm actually going to remove this so we can actually get a better look at this particular poster in general, because this was such a cool sticker to see. You can see Lord Vampire and his bride up there. It is so cool to actually see these being referenced again in a LEGO set. Monster Fighters was a one-off theme that ran in 2012 that was kind of a spooky horror assembled theme. You can see one of the moonstones there. Of course, the haunted house is such an icon of that. Even one of the ghosts in the background. So what a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one to actually see this referenced in the set. They didn't really showcase this in any of the promotional images of the set, so when I opened up the box and saw this on the sticker sheet, I was very, very happy. Closing this up here, we have a reference to another classic LEGO theme, which we can see as we go all the way around over here. Now this does remove like so. I don't even know if this is supposed to be removable. There's kind of a part of the bridge that just comes off here for easier access. I mean, I guess you can take it off if you want to and do other stuff with it, but yeah, that kind of sits down there if you want to be able to move stuff around. But that right there is a poster for classic LEGO Pirates, but specifically, the set in question is not a classic pirate set. It is actually a Pirates 2009 set. This was the Pirates Shipwreck Hideout. It is a classic set that came out for LEGO Pirates. I guess it's classic now in terms of coming out in 2009, but this was a really fun one to see actually referenced on the set itself, with, of course, LEGO Redbeard or Brickbeard, whatever version of the pirates you want to showcase on the poster itself, which is so much fun to be able to see this referenced in a LEGO set. And maybe is a bit of a nod towards another LEGO Pirates remake set coming out later this year, the rumored El Dorado Fortress. Now, in trailers for Ninjago Dragons Rising, we have seen a humanoid frog character who is associated with a bakery, so maybe that's why there is a frog there, or it could just be a fun Easter egg referencing one of the set designers. Moving upwards, just one final Easter egg I did want to mention here. This is actually a sticker on the elevator, but this sticker is exactly the same print as an older vintage LEGO panel piece, which is very cool to see. That was one that was used in a lot of vintage LEGO space sets, and it's cool they made it an actual sticker to actuate the elevator here. Moving onwards, we can finally take a look at the interiors of some of the buildings. So since we're already over here, let's start off with these. And what's great is that these buildings actually have walls that can be fully removed. So this whole thing comes out, and this comes with the actual interior itself. This is a little bit of a bedroom. It is just kind of a small bedroom type of space. You have a bed here. You have a portrait of a character that kind of looks like Nia with the hairpiece there. This is a great parts usage of the LEGO Minecraft mini head as a lamp. That is a really smart usage, and that's not the only smart Minecraft usage you're going to see in this set so far. Overall, just a nice and cute little type of apartment building. Moving onwards from this part, you can also move the bakery area out here. So what's very nice is that, again, since you cannot remove the roofs of these buildings, you can remove their entire contents. This is a bakery, pizzeria type thing where you actually have an oven, which is being used to cook certain items. You, of course, have flour, bread pans, no actual references to the TV show here in particular, just like another nice little area to use. And I like how they use the Harry Potter wand boxes as parts of the stairs to add extra detail. Sliding this back in here, we can see just the wall opening up here. This is kind of another little room for different characters to be able to play around in, but there is an Easter egg here. Right there on the desk is a Kai DX card. Let me go ahead and remove that so we can see it much more clearly, but this whole thing, let's see if I can just get that off. There we go. You can take a look at one of the Ninjago printed trading cards. This is the original, oh, not Kai DX. This is the Kai pilot suit outfit. It is a gold trading card like the ones we would have seen on the original spinners, and I like that LEGO is still including these in random sets ever since we got some from the Temple of Erjitsu, the Ninjago movie sets, and now these. There's actually one more included in this set, which we will take a look at in a second, related to Zane, but let me just go ahead and put this trading card back for now, I probably do want to actually include that in a future Ninjago wall display. I think that would be really cool. But let me just go ahead and lower this here so we can just take a better look inside the building itself. And I believe that what this is supposed to represent, it is just two single pieces, but they have a red 1x1 and a black triangle top. And I'm guessing that is supposed to represent the Temple of Erjitsu or some sort of Ninjago temple being displayed on the wall itself. Putting this back here, you can see it just kind of closes up like so. You can also just take a look as we rotate all the way around here. There is some interior detail for Kai's blacksmith shop itself. Again, nothing super unique in particular that is a reference to the show, but this is just a generic kind of blacksmith shop setting. One interesting new piece that I first saw in this set, but I'm assuming is going to appear in many other sets, is this window piece with a bar going through it. They use this a ton throughout the set. It was brand new to me, and I thought it was really interesting, getting a new piece with a bar that actually attaches clips to it as part of the window panes of the set itself. Moving onwards, we just have a couple more buildings before we have taken a look at every single bit of Ninjago City Markets. First of all, this here is something that is actually somewhat related to the TV show itself, so let me go ahead and remove the bridge here and we can actually take this entire thing out. Like, this whole thing just comes right off, but let's take a look at the first level here. This is a building that we have first seen in some clips from Ninjago Dragons Rising, but this is Eren and Sora's apartment. It is very tight, but there's actually a lot of different details packed in here. So at the top here, you can see a top bunk bed for Sora with her logo on that, the cat logo there. What's nice is you can actually remove this bed. This bed isn't actually attached to anything. It's literally just kind of sitting in there based on gravity, so let me remove that, and then you can see Eren and his logo there, so they are sleeping in bunk beds. This is a poster which is a reference to Lloyd's Legendary Dragon. That was a Ninjago core set released just last year, which is, in my opinion, one of, if not the best Ninjago dragon ever made. I actually did a video ranking all the dragons and showcased that. And then here, you can see the blueprints for Sora's Mech Bike Racer, which is the set that we already saw in a poster earlier in the set, but obviously is a very important part of Sora's character, which is where you can see her designing it right here. Let me go ahead and put the beds back here. They're really nice and clever, compact ways to make bunk beds, and take a look at the next section. Here, this is advertising a 24-hour market, which is very nice to see. And that is the market itself in question, can be seen right here. Thankfully, you can remove this wall for easier access to the inside of the market, where you can also see the other trading card included here, which is a Zane trading card featuring his original suit from the pilots and the exact pose that he used back in the day for the trading cards themselves. Otherwise, this is just a pretty simple convenience store. It's not really anything we have seen in the show yet, but it also has a little spot to put the Cole action figure right there on the mantle. And finally, with all of that, we have summed up our look at the entirety of Ninjago City Markets. This is the largest Ninjago set to date, and it really shows just how much effort and work went into designing this absolutely incredible set. This is probably one of the best Ninjago sets ever made, in my opinion, and I do have a lot of thoughts on how I feel about it overall. But first, let me go ahead and reassemble all its different components so we can get into the concluding thoughts. I'll talk about value, I will talk about the composition and overall aesthetics of the set, and how it compares to some of the other city displays. Okay, so Ninjago City Markets in summary. $370, 6,163 pieces, the largest and most expensive Ninjago set to date, one of the best for sure. But there are a couple things I do want to discuss. First of all, is this worth the money that you're paying? Secondly, how does it work as an expansion to the Ninjago City lineup? And also, how does this actually function as a build in general when compared against other modular buildings, when looking at the building techniques, at the layout, at the composition of the different types of buildings included? So here's the thing. When Ninjago City Markets was first announced, I was so excited. I was really hyped to get another expansion to the Ninjago City, especially one that had the potential to be its best yet, and I could not wait to see what LEGO had in store. The end result is really good. Don't get me wrong, I think it is a really solid set, but I can't help but feel that maybe something is missing from the set itself. Maybe a part of that is because of the very open layout. Essentially, this is kind of a bracket shape, where you have a lot of buildings on the side, a lot of buildings on this side, and a really large open area that makes it feel more open than it actually is. Now, the thing is that each and every single one of the buildings is fully detailed, and there's a lot of buildings that are really just tucked away. Looking at the corner here, you can see stuff like the blacksmith shop or like the 24-hour market. Really just very highly detailed buildings that are just right in the corner there, whereas other more narrow and vertical Ninjago City sets have definitely accomplished a lot more with the smaller space because they didn't have such an empty space to be able to have a cable car going through. However, I do think that the cable car is probably the most unique part of the set. I definitely would not have wanted to get rid of it. I think it is really cool how they actually have a cable car connecting from the bottom to the top levels, and it's a really cool thing for them to do. I just am not sure exactly how I feel in general with, especially after the cable car is docked, it does have a very open and empty sense, which again, is not a bad thing whatsoever. It is cool for a marketplace to have a very open air type setup, but we also really, for a market, only have 2 different market stalls. The rest are mostly just other buildings going around. There's a lot of space to pose minifigures, but it is a lot of gray. There's a lot of just gray open studs being used, especially in the center, where the composition of the shot, so to speak, or the way the buildings are laid out, feels like it maybe could be at least a little bit more interesting in terms of what you could be getting for what you pay for. When images of this first came out, I was a little bit perplexed because this has 6,163 pieces compared to Ninjago City Gardens, which has 5,686. And the thing is, Ninjago City Gardens initially retailed for only $300, which was a crazy price. They since upped the price to $350. This is $370 for about 400 to 500 more pieces, which I think is fairly okay. $20 extra over the previous modular building in the Ninjago line for about 500 more pieces is a great deal to me. And the thing is that a lot of these pieces go into very small and tiny minute details. Obviously, there is a huge portion of the part count that goes into making the waterway. It's really good to have a pond and a bridge and even a boat that can go underneath the bridge, but because of that, you have so much space that is taken up by just laying down 1x2 tiles, which definitely does beef up the part count by quite a lot. The other thing is that in terms of the composition of the set itself, the color scheme is a little bit cluttered and jumbled in terms of what you can see. Obviously, there are certain buildings that all have their own unique color schemes, but I really was curious about having more of a cohesive visual style to the set itself, whereas if you look at something like, for example, Ninjago City Gardens, it very clearly has multiple different layers. It's got kind of a more traditional layer down below, and then you go up to higher tech restaurants, and then you have the museum. Here it feels like you're getting a blend of different things, because you have traditional style buildings down below, which always has been the ethos of Ninjago City sets. You have more traditional Asian-inspired buildings on the bottom, and then high-tech stuff at the top. But I feel like there is a bit of a style clash with this really nicely built traditional building to actually have the cable car dock inside of it. Like, this looks like a really nice, almost garden-inspired type thing. And then you have the very high-tech Borg store. It's almost like a futuristic version of an Apple store right next to it, where I do feel like you do have a bit of the style clash when you're looking at this compared to that. The other thing that I will note is that a lot of the other modular buildings in the Ninjago City lineup look pretty good from the sides and the back, and they clearly wanted this to be really only viewed from one angle. Here is what it looks like on the side. There is honestly not much to see here. And then here's what it looks like from the back part, and let me just get this all the way rotated around. And there is some detailing. I mean, there's some stuff you can look at. You have some detailing here. You've got like a poster here and here. But for the most part, this isn't really supposed to be viewed from the back. Ninjago City Docks actually did a really good job of balancing this, where Ninjago City Docks could literally be flipped one way or the other, and it would still look totally fine either way. This set, it very clearly has one presentation angle. And while it definitely isn't a facade, it feels like it really is supposed to only be seen by just the front angle, or else you're going to see a lot of the mechanisms, and maybe you aren't seeing the most detailed things, and it very much feels like that kind of modular building where it has a camera-friendly side. And there's nothing wrong with that, it's just something I do want to point out, especially when you're paying so much money for such a large and expensive set. Honestly though, those are really the only negative things I can say about the set. Everything else about the set is absolutely phenomenal. I am very, very positive on this, and I'm a big fan of how everything worked in general to get this fully built up. The cable car is such a fun feature, and it's so cool to see recognizable buildings from the Ninjago TV show actually finally be included in an official set. There it's Laffy's Karaoke Club. You have Kai's Blacksmith Shop, which isn't really what it is in the TV show, but I guess it is a representation of that building. You have Sora and Aaron's apartments, which looks to be a major new location for the Dragons Rising show. The working bathroom is one of the highlights of the set. I think it's so funny. It is really cool how they actually have the function fully working there. Very, very impressive. You've got a bakery, which I assume is also going to be featured in the new show, and overall, I think this is chock full of so many amazing references, Easter eggs, hidden details, so many different parts where you can play with and pose minifigures around it, that overall I am very positive on the design and the playability of the set itself. I do just feel that, for whatever reason, when I look at this compared to Ninjago City Gardens, and we will do direct comparisons with all 4 now Ninjago modular buildings, this feels like it is at least somewhat lacking compared to some of the other buildings. I don't really know what's missing. Honestly, I can't quite put my finger on it, but it feels like, I don't know, maybe it's the height, but obviously it is double size. Like, this is double the size. This is 2 base plates as compared to some that is just 1 base plate, but I still aesthetically would maybe rank the original Ninjago City as number 1, Gardens is number 2, this probably is number 3, and Docks is number 4. But don't quote me on that, because I really want to sit down and play around with all the buildings. Maybe LEGO has just been putting out so many amazing sets that they are becoming less and less impressive, even though they are still just as amazing. And don't get me wrong, this is an incredible set. But $370 is a lot of money to spend, and there are at least a couple of parts of the set where I feel it could have been refined a little bit more, or that maybe you could have had just a little bit of cleanup in terms of the aesthetic clash between 2 different styles. Otherwise, I do think this is still such an amazing set to get. Don't get me wrong, this is the best Ninjago set that has come out this year. It is the best Ninjago set that has come out since City Gardens. It is incredible. I hope LEGO continues to make more and more and more of these, because I am such a big fan of the way that LEGO continues to do these incredible sets. I think that they should keep on doing them. I think that they are hopefully selling well, so hopefully we will get more in the future. I honestly feel like they could support coming out with a new one of these each year, and I don't think people would complain. They could treat it like a modular building, have one in the summer like this, and have a regular modular building in January. I don't know, I feel like that could be a pretty cool system. Overall, very, very impressed with this build. I like it a lot. It's not quite as good as I thought it would be when we first heard about it, but it's not bad. It's not bad by any means. I love the features, the play features, the minifigures in general are so amazing. Yes, there are some weird inclusions. There are a couple minifigures that have unique torso printings that I feel should have just been given to an actual other character, but it is clearly the most amount of unique named characters from the TV show in any one of these sets yet. If you look at even the lineup for Ninjago City Gardens, for example, the only special minifigure we got there that we had never seen before was basically the mechanic. Everyone else was either a repeat or a version of a character that we had seen before. Ronin got a new outfit, sure, but we had gotten Ronin before. Misako got a new outfit, but we had also gotten her before. Here, we are getting a whole host of brand new minifigures. You have the last Elemental Master, Camille, you have Detective Zane, you have Hound Dog McBrog, you have Misdemeanor, you have Dareth in the outfit we've been wanting to get him in for so long, we have Cyrus Borg, we have Racer 7 with a Bionicle shirt, we have Gale Gossip, we have all these amazing characters from the TV show finally appearing in minifigure form after literally years of potentially never ever getting these characters in physical format, and that is so amazing that they were able to do this. This set is also chock full of some of my most interesting and favorite building techniques that I've seen in any set. We have a Minecraft sheep or cow head being used as a mailbox there. That is a crazy technique. I didn't even mention that earlier. We have those great roller coaster track pieces being used for the column here. We have some Technic elements being used for columns right here. You of course have the working toilet, which is so smart and so clever. Then you have the book techniques being used alongside this area of the roof. Just so many smart and clever things, from the car hubcaps to the rims to the way the tree is built to the squid building technique. Everything about the set is just done so well, and that's why I definitely would recommend the set, but also I don't know if I would pick this over City Gardens. I would be really curious to hear down in the comments below, do you like this better, or do you like City Gardens better? I'm really curious because I'd love to hear your thoughts. Now, down the line, I might actually do a comparison video showcasing all 4 Ninjago modulars. I know a lot of people are probably already going to do that, but I feel like it'd be interesting to try to incorporate this into my city, and so do stay tuned for that, coming very soon, and thanks so much for watching this very lengthy and very detailed review of all the minifigures, all the Easter eggs, all the references, and all the details to find in Ninjago City Markets.
Alright, and with that we have summed up our look at the incredible Ninjago City Markets. This was such an incredible set with an amazing minifigure selection. It was so cool to see so many different variants and new characters that we've never seen before in LEGO form. And of course, all those Easter eggs were so much fun to hunt down and collate for all of you. And with that, we have summed up this video. Thank you all so much for tuning into Duck Bricks. Be sure to like and subscribe for even more LEGO news, reviews, discussion, and analyses coming your way very soon. Thank you so much, and bye for now.